Okay, if you're here, you've probably just looked at your test kit results, saw those nitrate and phosphate levels creeping up, and felt that familiar little knot of panic in your stomach. Look, we have all been there. It is incredibly common in established saltwater aquariums to suddenly realize the pristine water you started with is getting, well, a little cloudy, both literally and figuratively. But before you do anything drastic, just take a deep breath. In this explainer, we're going to walk through exactly how to safely lower those nutrients, restore the delicate balance in your ecosystem, and most importantly, how to do it without accidentally crashing your beloved tank.
Here is our structured, biology-first roadmap to fix your ecosystem safely. We'll be covering the danger of quick fixes, finding hidden sources, pulling the slow levers, managing your tank's inputs, and finally, laying out a stepwise master plan.
All right, let's dive right into step 1. The danger of quick fixes, or basically what absolutely not to do. So when you see a high nitrate or phosphate reading, your immediate panicked urge might be to reach for a chemical bottle and just dump a quick fix right into the water. You know, just to make the numbers look better by morning. But why is forcing the chemistry such a dangerous instinct? Well, the core issue is that your aquarium isn't just a bucket of chemicals. It's a complex, living biological system balanced on the backs of millions of microscopic bacteria. They're the ones holding the whole thing together. When you force rapid, aggressive chemical changes, you literally shock that delicate microbial workforce right into paralysis.
See? The frantic dumping of a quick fix might make the numbers look good temporarily, but it causes this sudden, violent loss of stability. It severely stresses out your fish, and honestly, worst of all, it can entirely stall your tank's natural cycling process. True biological correction actually requires slow reduction. Lowering nutrients gradually keeps your beneficial bacteria working happily and efficiently. That measured approach is how you achieve genuine long-term stability, rather than just slapping a temporary band-aid on a much bigger problem. So before you even think about trimming nitrates and phosphates, your ammonia and nitrite levels absolutely must be strictly at 0. If they aren't, your underlying nitrogen cycle is already failing. You really can't worry about the phosphate levels of your water if the foundational biological filter is collapsing, right? If you detect ammonia or nitrite, your absolute top priority is immediate biological correction, not nutrient trimming. Only when ammonia and nitrite are locked dead at 0 is it safe to move forward.
Moving on to section 2. Let's find those hidden sources and diagnose the root cause.
Think of your tank like a checking account. If your balance is climbing completely out of control, you need to step back and see exactly where the deposits are coming from. Most nitrate and phosphate problems stem from one or more of these common culprits. Overfeeding and a heavy fish load are your classic inputs for sure, but you really have to look closely at the hidden ones. Like, a tiny chunk of uneaten mysis shrimp trapped in a dead spot can rot and silently foul gallons of water. The debris just sits there and decays. You also need to check for clogged filter media. Even high-flow areas can trap detritus if you aren't super careful. And actually, sometimes it's your tap water or additive buildup sneaking phosphates directly into the tank from day one. You kind of have to play detective here.
There's this golden rule in reef keeping that you really need to remember. Without addressing the source, any reduction effort will be temporary. It's absolutely crucial. If you just treat the symptoms and aggressively lower the numbers without fixing the heavy inputs driving them up in the first place, you're fighting a guaranteed losing battle. You'll end up spending all your money on media, but the numbers will just climb right back up next week.
Which brings us to section 3, pulling the slow levers for safe reduction.
Okay, the absolute safest, most reliable way to reduce dissolved nutrients without shocking the whole system is the ultimate slow lever: water changes. But wait, not a massive panic-induced drain of the tank. Doing a 70% water change in one afternoon will completely terrify your livestock. We want small, frequent water changes. Aim for gradual improvement over days or even weeks. And remember, always match the temperature and pH of the new water to your tank as closely as possible and dechlorinate thoroughly. The goal is to slowly dilute the problem while keeping the total biological shock to the system practically unnoticeable.
Now, when you're doing these water changes, you also need to clean, but the method matters immensely if you want to avoid an ammonia emergency. Step 1, lightly vacuum visible detritus from the substrate. Don't go digging up the whole sandbed and releasing toxic pockets of gas. Step 2, rinse your mechanical media in tank water only. Never ever use tap water because the chlorine will instantly wipe out your beneficial bacteria. Step 3, stagger any deep biomedia replacements. Don't replace all your sponges or bioblocks in the same week. Tossing out all your established biomedia at once literally throws your tank's immune system straight into the trash.
All right, section 4,
Managing tank inputs. It's a balancing act between inputs and exports.
It's a super delicate scale. Even with a brilliant cleaning routine, nutrients will endlessly climb if your inputs outweigh your exports. On the input side, you might simply need to scale back your feeding size or frequency. If you use frozen foods, maybe consider thawing and rinsing them first. That dramatically reduces dissolved organic juices before they even hit the water. And don't ignore lighting. Lighting indirectly affects phosphates by fueling algae growth, which just traps those nutrients. On the export side, you need clear, unimpeded paths to get material out before it breaks down. So optimize your mechanical filtration, run a well-tuned protein skimmer, and double-check for hidden issues like clogged intake screens.
Now, you might be wondering about chemical media. Phosphate-removing media is a perfectly valid tool, but it is an optional, targeted export method. Think of it as a helpful supplement, not your primary immediate solution. If you're going to use it, you must use it carefully and in amounts strictly appropriate to your measured phosphate levels. Start with very conservative dosing and retest a day or two later. Because be warned, if you strip the phosphates out too aggressively, that rapid overcorrection will severely stress your sensitive livestock. Corals can literally bleach or peel off their skeletons if phosphates drop to absolute zero overnight. No way we want that.
Finally, Section 5. Let's pull the whole shebang together into the stepwise master plan.
Here's your daily and weekly timeline. This pacing is specifically designed to let your biological system safely catch up without any chemical whiplash. Day 1. Test your nitrates and phosphates, and absolutely confirm your ammonia and nitrites are zero. Days 2 through 5. Begin those smaller, frequent water changes and gently vacuum visible detritus. Week 1. Optimize your mechanical filtration and stagger your media rinses. Staggering is absolutely crucial here because it lets the bacteria population catch up and handle the new baseline. Week 1 to 2. This is when you can conservatively add phosphate-binding media if levels remain stubbornly high after your initial physical reductions. Finally, ongoing. Slightly reduce your feeding, keep an eye on your algae, and continually retest to adjust your pace.
As you execute this master plan, there is one massive warning you absolutely must heed. Avoid sudden changes in multiple variables at once. Do not adjust your temperature, tweak your salinity, rip out your filtration type, dig deep into your substrate, and alter your lighting schedule all at the exact same time. Changing your lights, the flow, and the salinity all in the same weekend is literally the aquatic equivalent of an alien abduction for a fish. It triggers a cascade of stress that your tank might simply not recover from. A calm, measured approach is what lets your beneficial bacteria and fauna naturally adapt.
So what does this all mean? Next time you see a nutrient spike, just ask yourself, are you trying to aggressively force the chemistry, or are you creating an environment that lets your tank's biology do the heavy lifting? Lowering nitrates and phosphates safely is never about magic products in a bottle. It's entirely about controlled reduction, preserving your beneficial bacteria, and meticulously removing the inputs that feed the buildup in the first place. Trust your ecosystem, take it slow, and your tank is going to thrive. Thanks for following along with this explainer.